Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to recap Game 35 of the regular season. Rangers over the Capitals 5-4. Oh, this was a fun one to watch, wasn't it? So, man, this is just a great game. The only precursor you need to know, Igor Shesterkin got the start going into the game. And let's get into the first period. So, 18-18 in the first left. Kevin Rooney takes a holding call, and the Capitals get a power play. And on said power play, the Capitals, they cash in on it. 17:37 left. Washington has it in our zone. Backstrom with this great pass to Tyler Oshie right in front. He scores. It's 1-0 Capitals. Then, very quickly after that, 15:38. I don't know how to talk about this, right? It was just an insane mad rush. I don't know who it was, but a Capital pushed Lebor Hayek into Shesterkin, so he was kind of discombobulated during the play. I think it was Dowd who scored for the Capitals. It was a really weird play. I thought for sure it was going to be called back because I'm like, that can't be totally legal, right? But I mean, I guess if you shove a different player into it that isn't your player into the goalie, it's fine. So the goal stands. It's 2-0. And at this point, I'm like, oh, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get shut out. We're gonna get massacred tonight on home ice. That's what we're gonna do. Cool. And we actually wouldn't. A little bit later on, 58 left. Man, this one sucked, right? Capo Caco makes a couple of nice moves, gets a good entrance into the zone, gets a pretty open shot, and just holds the puck. He doesn't pull the trigger. He tries to wait for something better to come along. And here's the thing. Sometimes your first look is the best one. This was the best shot he could have had. He holds it, and he gets kind of a meh shot on goal off. And it sucked because I don't even think that actually counted as a shot on goal. I think that was just technically a shot attempt, and it got deflected. And it was a huge bummer because it's like, that was a great play, and it easily could have been a shot. It might have been a goal, and he would get a goal later on, but those type of plays, he's got to cash in on, and that was a huge bummer. So a little bit later on, 12:06, Doughty with this great move on Jacob Trouba gets a little bit of space. It's shot on goal. Igor gloves it. A nice save by Igor Shesterkin. And look, he was so good tonight. The power play goal is whatever. And the other goal was so weird and fluky. I'm not mad at him for either goal. Like, neither goal. The power play goal, obviously, is his fault, technically. But it was a power play goal. What have you. The other one was so fluky, I thought it was going to be called back. Igor Shesterkin was incredible tonight, and I'm going to talk about him more during the recap and at the end of the video. So a little bit later on, 8:53 left in the period. The Caps get a rush into the zone. It was sort of an odd man rush, but well, not really. It was kind of weird. And Alex Ovechkin, have you ever heard of him? He's a pretty good player. He gets a pretty wide open shot just right on Shesterkin, but he gloves it. An incredible save. And look, if it's Georgiev in net or Kincaid in net, it's probably 4 or 5-0 at this point. There were so many great saves by Shesterkin in the first 12 minutes. He is so good. He is going to be a future star in this league, and I'm excited about it. A little bit later on, 7:31, the Caps take a too many men on the ice call. The Rangers get a power play. We would not do anything with it. Then, a little bit later on after that, 4:24 left in the period. Filipino charges, I believe it's Orlov? Yeah, it was Orlov. He charges him. Great defensive play. He gets a breakaway, cruises down into the zone, starts to make a little head fake, makes a move on their goalie, shoots it, scores 2-1, and the Rangers get one back, going into what we thought would be the end of the period. But then at 41 seconds, Zdeno Chara takes a slashing call, so we'd get 41 seconds of a power play in the first, and then another minute and 20 or about a minute and 20 in the second period. 35 seconds left in the period. Our Timmy Paneran just gets absolutely robbed by the crossbar. It just, whenever you hear that ping and it rings around, it's either haunting because it rings in your ears, reminding you of what could have been, or haunting in the other respect because you realize, oh, wow, this much difference, and that's a goal. And it's the crossbar is one of the most interesting sounds in all of hockey. So, what are my thoughts in the first period, right? We weren't good, but we weren't terrible. Take the first, 5 minutes out of the equation, it was a pretty good period. But those first 5 minutes were awful. And I believe it was Brendan Smith who said basically as much in his little intermission interview. And I agree, it was a bad first period for the Rangers. Or at the very least, a bad first 5 minutes. So on to the second period, pretty much nothing happened, right? The only thing of note was at 7:16, Philip DiGiuseppe took a tripping call, and the Caps got a power play. We killed it off, and Igor Shesterkin was insane on that penalty kill. Couple of really nice saves, 4 or 5 at least, just great saves by Igor Shesterkin. He is such a good goaltender, man. I am so excited to have him on the team for the next, God, I hope decade or more. I'm so happy with Igor Shesterkin. So a little bit later on, 15:50 left in the period of the third. Timmy Paneran makes this great defensive play. He breaks up a pass from Zdeno Chara. He starts to head down into the zone. Waits. This was brilliant on Artemi Paneran. Wait, Strome is with him to his right, and then Kaapo Kakko is right around him. I think it was either behind him or to his left a little bit. Cuts across the ice, gives it to Ryan Strome. Strome passes it over to Kakko, tips it in. 2-2, they tie it. And right before that, they talked about how the Capitals, I believe, are 18-0, or were, at this point going into the third period with a lead. The Rangers are the first team to break that streak. The Rangers are also the only team in the East who have a winning record against the Capitals, which is insane to me. But that was a gorgeous play by all parties involved. Panarin, great defensive play. Strome with a gorgeous pass, and Kakko with a tip-in. That was fantastic. Later on after that, 13:28, and this was just Artemi Panarin, man. Great keep-in, gives it to Adam Fox. Fox starts to cruise towards the goal, starts to make a move. It looks like he was going to go from the goalie's left to his right. Just absolutely stops on a dime, roofs it, scores. Adam Fox with an insane goal to give the Rangers the lead. That would end up being the game-winning goal by Adam Fox, who was just yesterday named Star of the Week for the NHL with his, I believe it was his 12-point week, including 11 assists, which is insane. Adam Fox, man. I'm going to talk about him in a bit, too. So a little bit later on, 12:31 left in the period. The Capitals start to pass it around. Who was it? It was a shot. It was rebounded to Tom Wilson alongside the net. And it looks like it was going to just be an easy tip-in for Tom Wilson. Shesterkin, reaching all the way as far as he could to his left, says, no. We're keeping it tight. Or we're keeping the lead here, Tom Wilson. Unreal save by Igor Shesterkin. He's... I mean, I could talk about Igor Shesterkin for hours, but I don't think anyone wants to hear that, or if you do, tell me. Anyway, later on, 4:19, Brendan Smith. My God. Brendan Smith with... And here's the thing. I know everyone loves goals, right? You always love when your favorite player gets an insane goal. Goals are always talked about. But good Lord, that is one of the best assists I've seen in a very, very long while. Brendan Smith, from about, I think he was just a tad behind the net, towards the boards, in the corner, and just, I mean, tape to tape, Artemi Panarin all the way up past the red line, almost to the blue line of the Capitals. Insane pass to Artemi Panarin for a breakaway. He moves in, backhand, scores! Now it's 4-2, and the Rangers are sitting comfortably. Now, I was hoping, because of course I was hoping beyond hope for a goalie goal. We sadly did not get that. A little bit later on, 3 minutes left, I just wanted to mention this. I thought there was a fantastic shift by Alexis Lafreniere. He took a couple of shots on goal, or maybe at the very least, I don't know if they were technically shots on goal. I know he took a couple of shot attempts at the very least. That was a pretty good period, that was a pretty good shift, excuse me. He had a very nice defensive play. I thought he looked very comfortable on that shift, and I was like, oh, that's pleasantly surprising. I would like to see him build with that confidence. Because, again, it was just a shift in a game that basically was over at that point, but it was still a very nice shift by Alexis Lafreniere. A little bit later on, 1:10 left in the period, Brendan Smith takes a cross-checking penalty on Tyler Oshie, so the Capitals will get a 6-on-4 power play. Well, not power play, it was a 5-on-4, which is just a normal power play, but they also had an empty net. And then at 34 seconds left, Pavel Buchnevich gets the puck from Ryan Lindgren. He takes a shot up ice, gets the short-handed empty netter to make it 5-2, which would be the final score of the game. And then at that same time, Tom Wilson, because he's such a lovely human being, decided to exchange pleasantries with, I believe it was Ryan Lindgren, who is never going to, not also exchange pleasantries with anyone. They get into it. Tom Wilson gets an unsportsmanlike conduct for 2 minutes and a game misconduct for 10. But because it was, 34 seconds left, I mean, what does the game misconduct do? Oh no, he doesn't get that last 34 seconds. What's he going to do? How is he going to sleep tonight? So that happens. And, I mean, that was it. 34 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey. That was it for the game. And in sort of a reverse of, style for the Rangers, we played an awful first 5 minutes and then a fantastic last 55, which normally we play great the first 55 minutes, take a 2-1, 1-0, 3-2 lead into the last couple of minutes, and then give up a stupid breakaway or just a stupid odd man rush to then let them tie it and then eventually win. But tonight we just kind of wet the bed for the first 5 and then looked incredible after that. Another 4-goal third period, which going into the third, I'm like, well, we got to try to do something here, because I don't know if we can have another 4-goal period on the Capitals, 2 nights after we just had the other one. But they would. So, players I want to talk about. Adam Fox, baby. Adam Fox is elite. I'm not breaking ground here. I'm not, cracking any ice when coming up with these points. But Adam Fox, my God. He's a top 10 player. Or not top 10 player. He's a top 10 defenseman in the league. Maybe even top 5. He's fantastic. Who would you say, in a nutshell? Victor Hedman, easily. There's a few. If he's not top 5, he's top 10. And there's no debate. He is incredible defensively. He is incredible offensively. He soaks up ice time. Adam Fox, guys. If he keeps playing like this, like he has the past 2 weeks, if he plays like that down the stretch for the last 20 games, I could see him getting a Norris. He, at the very least, getting nominated and getting a lot of votes. Adam Fox is just playing out of his mind right now. He is easily the best defenseman since Brian Leetch for the Rangers, and it's not even a question anymore. Start of the season, I had trouble, but now he is playing at such an insane level. How could I not say it? Alexis Lafreniere, again, he didn't have a lot of minutes. I think he had about 10.5-ish. So again, not a ton. I thought he looked a bit more comfortable tonight. That last shift, like I said, was incredible. Ryan Strome has really just become, this is another player I want to talk about, he's become such a good player for the Rangers, really almost like a restart of his career. He seemed dead in the water, came to the Rangers, and started to center our Timmy Paneran and whoever he has with him. And I mean, the Paneran and Strome combo, especially now with Kakko that seems to be heating up, and it was working pretty well with Blackwell, it worked to an extent with Lafreniere. But Ryan Strome is just becoming he's so fantastic. He is now 1 game away. If he has an assist Thursday, he will tie the Rangers record with Rod Gilbert for the most consecutive games by a forward with an assist. Ryan Strome has become a fantastic player for the Rangers, and I'm ecstatic about that. Philip Hedl, who's been playing pretty aggressively the past few games, and I've really noticed has started to, play more aggressive, more confident, had an incredible defensive play tonight for that breakaway goal that really helped change the tide. Unreal play by him. Artemi Panarin. I mean, look. Say it with me. He is a game-changing player. Artemi Panarin is unbelievable. He's been playing the past 2 seasons for the Rangers at an insane level. A lot of people, myself included to an extent, right, thought that his contract might have been an overpayment. $11 million per year for a forward who had been the big player, but, he was never, let me rephrase this. He was never a big player in Chicago, but that was when he was very young. But he had Patrick Kane, he had a lot of other good Blackhawks. Then he went to Columbus and was, a main player, but on Columbus, which isn't a huge team. But now he was going to be asked to be the main player in the NHL's most valuable team and in the world's biggest market on the Rangers. And you think, $11 million for a year for a person who had never had 90 points in a season. That could be an overpayment. Then last year in 69 nice games, he had 95 points. Again, 69 games nice. He missed 13 games and was almost a 100-point player. And he easily would have hit it. And then this year, for an 82-game pace this season. He's missed a lot, obviously, and he's probably only going to play about 40-ish games. But the 82-game pace for the season is 109 points for Timmy Paneran. He has brought a renaissance for the Rangers. He has been a top 10 NHL player while he's been wearing a Rangers uniform and on the ice. If you take away the 9-game weirdness that he had to miss. Artemi Panarin's worth every penny the Rangers are playing him. They have a star player in New York. And speaking of star players, the final one I want to talk about tonight, Igor Shesterkin. He is the next star goalie for the Rangers. The Rangers are now going to have, in 4 decades, have Mike Richter, who is an insane, fantastic goaltender, Henrik Lundqvist, who is easily a Hall of Famer, and now they're going to Igor Shesterkin. Now you might say, Weston, how can you possibly put Igor Shesterkin in the same conversation as Mike Richter and Henrik Lundqvist after like 30 starts? Look, are you watching him? Are you watching Igor Shesterkin? He is insane. Igor Shesterkin is playing at such an absurdly high level with the most acrobatic of saves. He plays. The way he plays is ridiculous. I'm having trouble putting into words Igor Shesterkin and his play. Incredible tonight. The 2 goals early on, not great. Even though the 1 goal was kind of weird. But then he single-handedly, for a solid 35-40 minutes, kept the Rangers in this game. He had 30 saves on 32 shots against the Washington Capitals, who might be the best team in the NHL. He held Alex Ovechkin off the sheet, and he had, I know, at least a couple of shots. I mean, and so many of Igor's plays tonight were just highlight reel plays. It's insane. Ovechkin had 2 shots, and he held him. One of them was that insane glove save. Igor Shesterkin, and here's the thing. I wasn't ready to say it last year. I wasn't ready to say it at the start of this season, right? 12 games is not enough to say, oh yeah, he's a star player. No, it's 12 games. Even for a goalie, no. But I'm more than willing to say it right now. I'm more than willing. Now I'm sure. Right now I'm positive. Igor Shesterkin is a star player. He is going to be one of the best goalies in the NHL very soon. And I think next year, if he can get a full season in, he will be a top 3 goalie. I know it's not going to be a debate at that point. Igor Shesterkin, man. This team this season might not do anything great, right? We're not going to win a Stanley Cup this year. We're probably not going to even make the playoffs. But my God, you look at this team, you look at the talent that you have that's either young and under contract for a very long while, or that's a little bit older but still under contract for a very long while, and man, how do you not get excited about the future for this team? Fantastic game for the Rangers tonight. Absolutely beat up on the Washington Capitals. The Capital Rangers games have been electric. Like, they have been some of the best games. And I understand it's not just because we've won 4 of the 6. But good Lord, these have just been exciting, physical, nasty, brutal, incredible games for both teams. And it makes you kind of hope that if the Rangers make the playoffs, I'd love to see them play the Capitals. Because, God, imagine how aggressive and how incredible the games are right now during the regular season. Imagine that in a playoff series. That'd be incredible. So the goals for tonight were Filip Chytil, Kaapo Kakko, Adam Fox, Artemi Panarin, and Pavel Buchnevich. The assists were Ryan Strome, 2 for Artemi Panarin, 2 for Ryan Lindgren, and that insane one by Brendan Smith. Now, I want to briefly say, I praised the Rangers a lot tonight, and I had a lot of good things to say about them. I could take all that back Thursday night. Thursday night, if they lose to the Buffalo Sabres, who have lost 18 in a row, tying the Pittsburgh Penguins for the 21st century record. If we lose Thursday, I'm going to be on here, and it's going to be a loud one. So just keep that in mind, Rangers. And please, for the love of God, don't become the biggest meme in the NHL Thursday night. Thursday night also doubles as opening day for baseball. So Thursday night's going to be an interesting day for me. I'm going to try to be I'm going to have to do this recap, and I'm also going to have to do the Astros recap. So, yeah, Thursday's going to be fun. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Rangers.